A friendly desert community where the sun is hot, the moon is beautiful, and the outfits are fierce. And hungry. And they're coming for you. Night Vale needs more gay. If you asked media experts several years ago to predict the entertainment of choice for teenagers at the apex of the digital age, they would probably not have guessed radio drama. And, well, that's still not exactly the case in a broad sense, but the podcast Welcome to Night Vale has still become a lot more popular than I think anyone expected it to. Welcome to Night Vale is presented as a news broadcast in a town plagued by horrifying supernatural occurrences, reminiscent of the works of Stephen King and H.P. Lovecraft. It's very darkly humorous, full of hypnotic glowing clouds and faceless old women who secretly live in your house, and a dog park that no one is allowed to walk dogs in, or look at, or think about. The reason that I'm talking about Night Vale is because the voice of Night Vale, Cecil, is an openly queer character who also happens to be played by an openly gay voice actor who also happens to be named Cecil. In early episodes, Cecil has a decidedly fangirly infatuation with new arrival to Night Vale, Carlos the Scientist, which later evolves into a full-blown relationship. It's not the focus of the series, but it is an element that fans tend to latch onto, for obvious reasons. Night Vale owes much of its popularity to Tumblr, a community characterized by various nerdy fandoms bordering on fanaticism, as well as politics that tend to veer, perhaps, slightly to the left. In this context, it's not terribly surprising that a series that features both Lovecraft-inspired eldritch abominations and a diabetes-inducingly adorable gay couple would become popular. But it is still slightly unusual for a series with no real visual element to speak of. At the same time, it's this absence of visual stimulus that's helped to build the podcast's sense of community. How do you cosplay or draw fan art of a character that no one's ever seen? Tumblr found a way. In the same way that our collective consciousness might inform us that God looks like off-duty Santa Claus, Night Vale fans are often inspired by this mutually agreed-upon image of what Cecil looks like, or at least certain recognizable elements. He usually has glasses, he may or may not have tattoos, he might have a third eye for some reason. He also might be any number of races or ethnicities. Die-hard Night Vale fans aren't simply tapping into their own imaginations, but the imagined unseen elements, or headcanons, of other Night Vale listeners. Many people have pointed out how it's kind of cool how out of all the crazy stuff that happens in Night Vale, the most boring, ordinary thing that occurs is a romance between two men. That is definitely the case in later episodes, but in many respects, especially earlier in the series, I almost see the opposite being the case. Cecil treats rifts in the space-time continuum and mysterious hooded figures as just the minutiae of mundane day-to-day life. But when his love interest gets a haircut, in Cecil's world, that's an earth-shattering event.
What treacherous barber should agree to such depravity? Who takes mere money or even soulless joy in depriving our small community of such a simple but important act as luridly admiring Carlos's stunning coif?
The romance between Cecil and Carlos, or Cecilos as fans like to call it, isn't just Night Vale's anchor to humanity, though it is certainly that. It's also what gives the podcast momentum, watching these characters develop from puppy love to something resembling a real relationship. They're not constantly breaking up and getting back together as any other series would have them do. They're just living out their normal, ordinary lives together, and in a way that's somehow less boring than the same old drama we're used to seeing. There's a place for romance that reflects reality. Ironic that it's a place where reality has taken an extended vacation. Have a nice trip, reality. I'm gonna go try on some furry pants. And now, the weather.